are what are three ways that we can take better care of our mental health?
One thing I think is important is to get back to community.
Welcome to the Action Only podcast. I am your host, Jalal Wilson, and today we have a special guest. We are going to talk to Alvena Willis about therapy today. She is a licensed therapist, and I think there are some things that we can learn about therapy that we don't talk about enough. So we're gonna have this conversation. Alvena, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Jalal. Thanks for having me.
Of course.
Yes, I'm definitely glad to see you. It's been a while since I had you on my show,
Hmm.
maybe a year ago now.
Yeah,
Talking
it was
about your
probably more
children's
than that.
books, right?
Yeah, it was probably like closer to almost 2 years ago.
Wow, time be
Yeah.
flying.
Hmm. It's crazy. Yeah,
Hmm.
it really do be just going and going. It's just like, where did
Mhm.
the time go? Man. Okay, so I'm gonna jump right in because I'm excited about this conversation.
All right.
But I think there's first I wanted to do a little I'm gonna ask you no, I'm gonna ask you this question first and then we'll kind of go into actually no, I'm gonna start here. How did you get into therapy? Like how did you get into wanting to be a mental health counselor? Like how did that all come about?
Okay. Well, I was interested in psychology, how people work, behavior, change, since I was a very young child. That's the first big word that I learned how to spell. Maybe I was 6 years old or so. Um, Folks find that to be strange that that's something I was interested in at such a young age. But after like encyclopedia, that's also another big word I thought was a good one to learn. But just always was a people watcher, wanderer, um, and I thought, I think I want to be a psychologist. I want to be a doctor and listen and help people with their things that they're going through. Um, Not sure exactly where that came from. It had to be God because I don't know where else could it be coming from.
Right.
So I stuck with that idea throughout my life. Every opportunity that I had, I picked up books. As soon as I was offered a psychology course in high school, I jumped right on that. Was so excited to get my first textbook, a thick one. Read that for fun. And it's just always been my favorite subject. Different behaviors and how to work through those.
Okay.
But
I- That's it. That's amazing. So I like that. You kind of knew at an early age, hey, I got this itch, and then you allowed it to, sometimes we ignore those things and you just like, no, I'm not gonna ignore this, and you kind of let it guide you down that path all the way to becoming it. Like you said, you didn't know where it came from, so it must have been God, but you listened to the voice, and that's a lot of times something we don't always do is listen to that voice. Now,
right.
I think that's the whole psychology field. I think is very interesting to me. And I'm always interested in how because I read a lot on psychology, mindset, those different things, especially because, I want to encourage people to take action and encourage myself to take action in my own life. And sometimes you got to do a number on yourself
Hmm.
to get you to go down the path that you know you should go. But I wanted to ask you, as a licensed professional in this area, are what are three ways that we can take better care of our mental health? Because I think a lot of people nowadays are struggling, especially after COVID. COVID changed a lot for a lot of people, and
Hmm.
just the ways we interact, the ways we do things. What do you think are some ways that we can take better care of it?
Well, one thing I think is important is to get back to community. That's something that we lost. We got disconnected from for a significant amount of time, and it can be, for lack of better words, awkward reconnecting after all of that time. And uh, it's important for us to have communities for all of the various different things that kind of, well, I would say validate those different parts of us that are important to us as well. A fitness community, if you're religious, go back to church. If you are into theater, different types of arts, go practice those and get outside of your home again. And, it could be anxiety provoking to go back outside. So take more breaks, take more frequent breaks, go for 20 minutes and then let that build up over time, maybe even 10 minutes, 5 minutes. I've told clients to, go walk in the gym and just take a lap around the gym, look at the equipment, and then walk back out. If you feel like you get a little wild hair that says, go get on that machine, go get on the machine for a couple minutes. Maybe you'll say, okay, I'm done, and you'll leave. You got to count that as a win. So just getting back outside, period. Even myself, I still work from home.
Mhm.
And I'm more likely to be found in my house. So I have to tell myself the same thing that I tell my clients, go outside. So that's number one. Um, Number two, get back into a good morning and night routine. Have a routine that starts with not turning on your cell phone for at least 10 minutes. Um, just do some journaling, do some thinking, do some breathing, set your intention for the day, uh, do some positive affirmations, just listen to your heart, listen to your mind, listen to your body, shower, brush your teeth, make your bed, do 10 jumping jacks, get your heart going, eat some food if that's something that you can do. Not everybody likes breakfast, but get some kind of nutrition into your body so that you can handle the stresses of the day a little bit better. If you start off with a sense of fullness and abundance, then that will have you having a full cup and something to pour from. If you're starting off already feeling depleted, that's going to make the day that much more stressful and difficult to get through. So, uh, third, probably touch someone, hug, hug someone, get a hug or touch yourself if you don't have anybody around. Hold on to your heart, hold on to your stomach. Um, get a massage if take a hot shower, get a weighted blanket, um, get into a warm sauna or hot tub, you know, whatever feels really good to you. That's really important.
Why is that one so important? Because I find that one very interesting. Why is that one so important, do you think?
Oh yeah, you can get a pet, you can get a dog or a cat or something. I don't
Uh-huh.
know. We're humans
Mhm.
and we need touch. It's part of feeling cared for, feeling loved, feeling connected, um, knowing that you matter. It's all of those good chemicals that your body produces. They produce happy chemicals in your body when you are touched or when you touch. So, yeah, it's just part of love.
Now let's switch gears. I want to understand because everybody, we like to throw around the word, go to therapy, but there
Mhm.
are some limitations on therapy.
Mhm.
What can therapy do and what can therapy not do?
Well, first thing therapy could do is give you a place to be heard and listened to by someone who doesn't, likely doesn't know your friends and family. In smaller communities, there's times where everybody knows everybody, and that could be difficult. But thankfully, we have this internet that helps for folks to be able to get a little bit further outside of their community and feel a little bit safer connecting with a therapist than we used to prior, have at our access. But for instance, I'm all the way out in Florida and all of my clients are currently in Washington. So I'm all the way across the country. You won't run
Mm.
into me anywhere. I may know someone that you know because, well, I'm a 30-year Washingtonian, but
Right.
it definitely happens. But that helps. And even for myself, as a therapist, I've gone to therapists, um, and it in the past has been helpful for me to go, I was in Tacoma to go down to Lacey and talk to a therapist out there because I'm like, okay, I know all these social workers and all these counselors. I don't want to go into these offices, things like that, just for confidentiality purposes. So it gives you a place to, when you talk to your friends and family, sometimes a lot of folks feel like, well, I don't want to be a burden to them or have to deal with their feelings about my situation or they're upset, because now I'm helping them. uh, what therapy cannot do for you is do the work for you. You still have to do something to access those blockages and emotions, whether that's has to do with journaling, meditation, just getting moving. I can't do the working out for you. Getting moving is important. Um, the art therapies, the getting to that space of vulnerability, I can, help, but I can't do it for you. So I can provide like, here's some tools, here's some information, here's some psychotherapy, here's what we're doing. But if you don't want to do it, then it's not gonna happen.
Okay. So I want to go back to that. So do you think so art therapy, meditation, those things, do you believe those things actually work?
I do. I think
Yeah.
they're techniques and they can be helpful depending on what we're doing. What we're talking about, who we're talking to. There's different modalities that are helpful for me that might not be helpful for you. Like,
Mhm.
you know, um, we've found that brain spotting, that's a technique that's used that's very helpful for people that look like us.
Mm.
So that's something I'm looking at getting certified in for helping with trauma.
Mm.
So
Okay.
yeah.
I think it's interesting. Why don't you think more people try things like meditation or like these art therapy, these things? Is it like the stigma around like because what I used to think, I know for me, when I used to think of meditation, I'm thinking like, I thought of like, you know, it it didn't associate with my like religion, like it's like I
Right.
thought of things like that. Like, why do you think more people don't do meditation?
The things I've heard is I can't do it. I can't clear my mind. I've tried it before, like, and then of course, like you said, I'm like, is that against my religion? I think people just have a lot of preconceived notions about what meditation is and how it's supposed to work. Um, that that could be an issue. Also, it takes consistency and routine. So and there's just so many different ways. There's so many different breathing techniques. There's so many different meditations that target different issues. So this can be a trial and error type of a situation as well. So maybe the first time you try meditation, you are completely in your head and you're just thinking about this isn't going to work. Why are we doing this? Um, what does this have to do with my anxiety? Which is fine. Now, at least you know that those thoughts are going through your mind while you're supposed to be focusing on your breathing and relaxing. So the next time, you can see those thoughts, recognize those thoughts, but also focus on your breathing, relaxing, and scanning your body or whatever the meditation is prompting for you to do. But then there's some folks who don't want to do prompts, they just want to breathe. There's different ways to breathe as well. But it's about getting back into your heart, your body, recognizing your thoughts, because some of us don't even know what it is that we are thinking. So it's good to even see and to recognize those thoughts. But folks think you're just supposed to be able to clear your head. But no, not necessarily.
Yeah. And I think I like something you said earlier, and I kind of glanced over it, but I think it's important that you recognize, even as a therapist, that you gotta get therapy too. So you're not only you're kind of not you're what's the word, you're kind of drinking your own medicine too. You're not
Mhm.
just telling people, hey, this is good for you, but then also you're making sure you do that in your own life too. So I think that's really powerful, also because me, my journey through therapy, I ran into some good therapists and I ran into some therapists that I know need counseling because it's like but I think that's with anything. We all have our own things that we have to deal with as we maneuver
Mhm.
through this world. So I want to that leads into my next question. What is some as a therapist, what are some things, what are like three things you might have learned about yourself, like on your as a therapist? Like you're doing all this for other people, but you're learning some things about yourself. What are some of the things that you might have had like an aha moment about as you're, on your journey?
Well, I learned that there's some things that I definitely will refer some people out for if these are their issues. There's certain things that I don't want to help people with.
Mhm.
Um, like if you're a child abuser, well, specifically like a molester, um, if you're a male who has sexual pornography or those types of addictions, and your wife is upset with you about these things and looking at women like, I don't know why you would come to me for help. I'm sure she doesn't want you to talk to me. I've learned that there are some topics that are triggering for me. And when I am, which is there's like a counter transference issue, then it's important for me to recognize and to say, okay, well, why am I feeling triggered by the subject? So that means there's just more work that I need to go do and then decide if I need to refer that client out or not at that point so that they can get help from somebody who's ready and prepared to help them with that situation. I've also learned that, like you said, I need to take my own medicine. There's times where I'm not up on my nutrition or my sleep, or because it's really very holistic. Your mind and your heart and your body, they're all connected. We treat them separately, but they're all connected. So taking care of myself is a top priority. It's my main priority because I can't really help anyone. I don't want to look like what I'm trying to treat. So
I like that. I like that. And so I like what I heard from this is a lot of self introspection because you're able to see, okay, hey, this triggers me, or okay, I'm not a good person for these things. You're able to acknowledge, what truly is, your realm of competence and what realm you feel comfortable in, and know that you can, because part of therapy is you want to help the people if they're willing to do the work to get results. And if you know that these are subjects and areas that you are not prepared for, or you are not, or you don't feel like you're going to be able to give your best. So just knowing like, okay, I gotta shy away from these and refer people out to get
mhm.
the help they need because they're not going to get it with me. So that's a lot of, you know, self, knowledge of self. So that's amazing. And what are some of the ways that you protect your own energy, because you have to, like you were just talking about transference, you have to protect your own energy also while helping other people. So how do you do that?
I got to check in with myself uh, throughout the day just to see how I'm doing, how I'm feeling. That's why meditation is really important. Um, it gives me uh, a level of consciousness about how I'm feeling within my heart, my mind, and my body. And I try to take that with me throughout the day and check in with myself when I have little breaks to see how I'm feeling. Staying connected with my own support system, friends, family. They'll be like, I mean, are you feeling okay today? Because you seem a little irritable. I'm like, oh, yeah, my tooth does kind of hurt, or, my
Yeah,
shoulder, I need to stretch, whatever. I
yeah,
didn't eat enough today, didn't drink
yeah.
enough water, whatever the case might be. So having those checks and balances in place, like the government,
Mhm.
um, are important as well. Just having, yeah, just I think that the routines are really helpful.
Okay, okay. Now, you so let's talk about what's the mermaid? The mermaid. What's is that one of because you know how you said you don't like going out the house, but and what's why you doing the mermaid thing? So is the mermaid thing one of them ways that Alvena's like, okay, this is how this is part of my self-care thing, self-expression. What is
Mhm.
that?
Yes, I do. I'm outside of wanting to be a therapist.
Mhm,
My dreams as a child were also to be a model and an actress.
mhm,
Uh, so I go create. I do get on stages and perform. I part of my artistic expression is definitely doing some cosplay as well. When I started growing my locks, at some point I decided that I needed a length goal. So I was like, okay, when they get long enough to cover my top, then I could do my mermaid photos. So I started looking for a fin. I was going to do the shoot uh, just prior to the pandemic,
mhm,
um, but then I didn't. So I did a I did a shoot on one of the beaches in Seattle, and then I did another one here. Uh, I mean, I am a mermaid. So I went kind of deep into looking more into things like the Orisha, the
mhm,
goddesses. And I'm like, oh, okay, like I can relate to this. I feel this. So
mhm,
right now, relating mostly to Yamaya, she's the mother of the Orishas. And, I feel like a mother. So I've been serving in this capacity for quite some time to the many. As a social worker, counselor, domestic violence victim advocate. I worked child protective services for some years as well. Um, Before that, running youth groups and teaching Sunday school, Sabbath school, um, and I also have a child. So after I reached that goal, I took those photos. I still have my fan, and I don't know, that just kind of took me down another kind of a spiritual journey and path as well. But yes, creating, being creative is definitely very important
mhm,
when it comes to self-care and helping yourself to heal and to grow and to have confidence and to um, live out your purpose.
mhm.
For me, it's purposeful as well. You know, I blew up that large photo of me on Madeira Beach here, and it's in my living room. So I was thinking, huh, got to print some of your stuff out. You got to print some of them, and maybe sounds morbid, but I think about, when I die, maybe they'll have that there at my funeral, so everybody can say, oh, Alvina did that, and she was different.
Yeah, yeah. I like that. I like that. I was thinking about even how because you said about being creative and how I ended up and you posted the other day how I ended up I did not even know it was you, but I
Yeah.
ended up taking a picture of you when I worked at the Seattle Center of during the African Fest and it was crazy that all those years later and I'm going through my camera roll and I was like, wait a minute, that's Alvina. And it's just
Yeah.
crazy how that happens, you know what I'm saying? So you're just in your creative space that day too that I saw you.
Mhm.
So that is
And that picture
amazing.
just popped up.
Yeah.
You know how Google just shares
Yep.
stuff with you. It
Mhm.
just popped. I was like, oh, that's cool. That just popped up. That means I'm supposed to post it right now.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think I love how you say about how being creative, I think it helps you, like you said, it helps you grow. That is
Mhm.
something that I have found for myself. That is when I am creative, I feel like almost like a completely different person. And like I'm just growing up and I look back at some of the stuff when I write or something, I look back at some of the stuff I wrote. I'm like, dang, like I wrote that. It takes you to a different place when you tap into that creativity, that,
Mhm.
you know, other sense of self that comes out when you allow yourself to express
Mhm.
some of these things that we should be expressing. And so I think that's pretty amazing that you're figuring out different ways to do that for yourself,
Mhm.
all while, being able to help other people find themselves.
Yeah,
So I think that's
it builds
dope.
your confidence, and then when tough times do come up in life, you remember that you're a creator,
Mhm.
and life is tough, and it will try to get you down, but you can say, look at these things, look at what I've done for myself, look at um, who I've built myself up to be. The world can't really tell me nothing. I have it all inside of me.
Yeah.
I'm a creator,
Yeah.
and who's the creator of the universe? God.
Right.
Who created us? God. He made us into little gods. We're creators.
Yeah.
So, I am. I am.
Right.
And then you can,
Yes.
from there, have more affirmations. Not everybody believes in those either,
Mhm.
but um, for me, it's helpful to say I can do anything. I am the creator of my life. Because there's so many things that we feel like we're out of control of, but in reality, we make our own little worlds as much as, you know, we have available to us.
Yeah.
You can make a whole lot out of a very little.
Yes. 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 Okay. I have one last question for you. So, to somebody who is struggling right now to get out of a mental funk and take action on some of their dreams, what would you say to them?
Write it down. Get a piece of paper, get a pen, a crayon, start saying the stuff out loud. Say it to yourself. Say it out loud in the shower. Write it down. Do a vision board if you're more into seeing things. Rip it out the magazine and put them together on a poster. Hang that stuff up. Look at it every day. Start taking small steps in the direction, even if it's, you know, I need to get into graduate school or whatever, art school, but I need 3 people to write me recommendation letters. Start thinking about who those people are and get a mentor, get a friend, get someone you trust to talk about this stuff so that they can help you to stay on track. Someone that believes in you.
I
All you
think
really need
that's
is yourself and one other person who really believes in you.
See, I think that's dope. And you reminded me of something. You reminded me of when I was first started working out, I had this picture of Kevin Hart, because Kevin Hart, he worked out, he got buff. So
Yeah.
I had this picture of him on my bathroom wall, on my bathroom door. So every time I came in my bathroom, I had a picture with him with his shirt off. It kind of gave me something to, this is what I'm aiming towards.
Mm.
And it was really helpful. So I think, like you're saying, get the visual, vision board. That I believe that type of stuff really does work.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it in my own life.
Yeah, it puts it at the forefront of your mind because there's so many distractions. We have the news, turn that off.
Mhm.
We have every single thing, every little dramatic thing that's going on, every Facebook post, somebody's saying something horrible happened. And, those things can get you down and get you distracted from what it is that you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah,
Yes, pay attention to it, do what you need to do about it. But, if you have that, then it can guide you. You can have your guide, get back on track, stay on track so that you don't forget. You don't want to forget. Get it
yeah.
done.
Yes. All right, Alvina. I just want to say thank you so much for hopping on with me, because I think this conversation is valuable. I think we don't talk about mental health enough, because there's still such this stigma around it. I think it's more talked about now, but there's still a little stigma around it. And
It
so I
is.
like, the fact that you came on, was able to give us some tips, let us know what you're doing. And it's always encouraging to hear that when a counselor says, hey, I reach out too when I need to, instead of acting
Absolutely.
like they got it all figured out and they know everything. So I truly appreciate you for coming on.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks so much for having me, Jalal. Hopefully we'll see each other somewhere again out there. We're in the same spaces, out here in
Yes.
the internet world.
Yes, yes,
Tell the,
definitely.
tell the family I said hello. Thanks
I
so much for
will
having
do.
me.
Oh, no problem. And thank you for coming on.
Bye bye.
All right. And this has been the Action Only podcast with your host, Jalal Wilson. And I thank you guys for all tuning in. And remember, if this helped you in some way, share it with somebody else. All right.